Alright, another video on adding integers. This time we're going to take it to the next level. So to start us off, I'm going to start us off with a problem. And the problems we've been working on have been things that look mostly like this. 4 plus negative 2. And so the way we've been tackling these problems is we've been basically tackling it by showing a visual, showing some sort of picture. So here's my visual. Here's my way of seeing this problem. I have 4 plus negative 2. That means I have 4 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I also have negative 2. That's 1, 2. And what we know about positive and negative numbers is when they come together, they make what we call a zero pair. So I've got a couple zero pairs to get rid of there, and I'm remaining with 2 positive numbers. So my answer is a positive 2. 2. And this process works really great. I mean, you could do this for every single problem if you really wanted to. But the struggle is going to be when we try to bump it up to a problem like this. Let's say I had almost the same problem, but it was 40 plus negative 20. Now I can make some guesses about what the answer would be, or I could draw a visual, but I would have to draw 40 positives and negative 20 would be 20 negatives. I really do not want to have to do that. That's a lot of work to draw all those positive and negatives. So I'm looking for a shortcut, or I'm looking for a rule that I can remember. And here's one of the rules that we can remember. This was 4 positives and this was 2 negatives. They're opposite signs. One of them's positive, one of them's negative. And the answer was basically like subtracting. 4 take away 2 is 2. Well, that is something I think is going to work every single time. When we have opposite integers, we have a positive and a negative number, I expect that I can subtract to get my answers. So the rule here is if we have different signs, we can subtract. So different signs, subtract. If we're dealing with opposite signs, positive and negatives, subtract the numbers. So like 40 and 20, this one's positive, this one's negative, subtract the numbers. 40 take away 20 is 20. So my answer is 20. But there's a little bit more to this rule. It's different signs subtract, but I also need to decide, is my answer a positive answer or a negative answer? Well, in the first example, it was positive 2 because, look, there were 4 positives and only 2 negatives. Whatever number is bigger is going to be the one that's left over. So if there's only 2 negatives, there was way more positives, the positives are going to be left over. So different signs subtract, and you want to keep the sign of the largest value, or keep the sign of the largest number. So keep sign of largest number. And technically we can get into some discussion about absolute value at this point, but I really just want you working in class on just remembering some of these beginning rules to kind of help you out. So let's look at an example 3 and use that rule. So example 3. Let's say this time we had, I'm going to go with littler numbers again. Let's say we had negative 7 plus 3. Okay, first off, those are opposite signs. Negative 7 and 3, this is negative, this is positive. The rule says with different signs we should subtract. So 7 take away 3 is 4. I'm expecting 4 to be the answer. But let's look at the visual, because we're still working on visuals. So let's go back and look at our visual one more time here. If we look at our visual, we have negative 7 plus 3. That means we have 7 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a lot of negatives. And we have 3 positives. 1, 2, 3. So you definitely can see the zero pairs. They're here. 1, 2, 3 of them. And you can definitely see the 4 that are left. But what are the 4? They're 4 negatives. So my answer here needed to be a negative 4. 7's a larger number than 3. There's more of the 7's than there are the 3's. So my answer needs to be negative because I have negative numbers left over. Right here is negative 4. So, different signs subtract, but you have to keep the sign of the largest number. Let's try another one. We'll do an example 4, excuse me. So, example 4. This time, let's say we had 9 plus -5. Another great example, we have opposite signs. These are different. This is a positive, this is a negative. So, the rule says with different signs subtract. 9 take away 5 is 4. There, I subtracted. But think about the visual. This means 9 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a lot of positives. I can circle all of them. It also means that I have 5 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I circle my 0 pairs and I get rid of my 0 pairs, I am going to have extras remaining. You can see I'm going to have some extras. I'm going to have these 4 extras. And what are the 4? Are they positive or are they negative? Oh, they're positive. These are 4 positive numbers. So my answer should be a positive. So here's our rule. Different signs, we're going to subtract them, but we're going to keep the sign of the larger value. 9 is larger, it's positive, so this is positive. That's going to be really helpful when these numbers become really big, because if this was a 97 and a 54, whoa, I'd have to draw 97 positives and 54 negatives. That sounds crazy. I don't want to do that. So we definitely want to practice this rule. Here, you try. Let's see if you can do it. On your own paper, will you copy down -8 plus 4? And then over here, will you copy down -4 plus 4? I want you to try these 2 problems. I want you to pause the video and see if you can solve them with the rule and then maybe with a visual if you need it. Okay, so you're unpausing the video now and you're checking your answers, and I hope you're noticing that these are opposite signs, so you should subtract. 8 take away 4 is 4. These are opposite signs, so you should also subtract. 4 take away 4 is 0. But if you're wondering whether they're positive or negative, you need to think about the values. We have -8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. +4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I get rid of my 0 pairs, I'm definitely seeing some leftovers, and they're all 4 of them negative. So I expect my answer to be a -4. With 0, it's not the case that I have to worry about so much, because 0 isn't a positive or a negative number. It's neither. It's in the middle. I have 4 negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, but I have 4 positives, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all 0 pairs. There's nothing left over. So my answer is just 0. Okay, so there's going to be a bunch more videos on this, so stay tuned for the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.